Good evening, Mayor and Council. So there's 7 items on the Public Works Authority agenda. So sorry, Corey, for the last 3. Those are going to be lengthy.
Chris, can you
sorry.
kind of enunciate and get closer?
Yep. Am I more clear now? All right. Okay. So just a brief update on the projects, the supplemental funding, and then the 3 different loans that are on the agenda tonight. We'll start with financing and updates for August 24. So overview timelines for the upcoming projects, the different state financing programs that we're utilizing. All projects, and I'm going to say this multiple times throughout the presentation, so bear with me. Anticipated in the water wastewater rate plan adopted last September. So there's no additional rate increases. They're part of our planned increases. And I'll say it every time you see a project that this was anticipated. This is not something different, not something new. And then again, as I always say, you can find updates on these projects on our website. And just for fun, I put a list of abbreviations, acronyms. I do get asked about that a lot, and I use them, but they're here in the presentation. Somebody goes back later. First project, Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. So the loan is for $54 million from the SRF program. And that's the state, and then Alan and Chris are here. They can speak to the different financing programs. We received bids on July 30th. And then again, the loan being $54 million, 30-year term on the financing. And again, project is included in the current rate plan. And then just the general timeline of award and financing. We'll get started on this project right away. One key item on this project, so as Mayor and Council knows, just a couple weeks ago, we had our most critical line in the city break, and it is the line that gets water from the plant to the city, and there's only one of them. And luckily, nobody knew any different because we're good at our jobs, but another few hours, pressure would have been noticeably different. And, thankfully we put out a notice before we got into bad shape, but this pipeline actually gives us the redundancy and additional capacity for the future. So
I was quite impressed and thankful how quickly y'all responded and how just how wonderfully you took care of the problem before anybody noticed. Even knowing what was going on, I noticed zero change in pressure, and I'm very thankful.
I am glad that you did not notice any pressure difference. Our operators were there, and then of course Public Works staff out on site and our contractor. So it takes a village on this.
It does, and
Yeah.
it was all pulled together and orchestrated beautifully. And I'm just thankful, and I'm thankful, hopefully speaking for the citizens, that knew nothing about it.
Yes.
Because it could have been absolutely catastrophic.
Yeah.
And you took care of it, and I'm just...
Appreciate that. Okay. Upcoming, but not on this agenda, is the 33rd Street water line. It's another state revolving fund loan. So we're trying to get this one out to bids as soon as DEQ will give us a permit on it. So as soon as the permit, we expect it any time. Then we'll come back at a separate meeting and get this awarded. Again, the project's included in the current rate plan, and I should have changed the to be determined, but we will come back. So. And then we've got in the packet just a background and what's on the website and a general map of the projects. I can go through and talk all about them, or we can move to even more interesting projects. So
We just need to talk about the ones that are on the agenda.
Yep. Chisholm Creek Force Main, so we've got that one on the agenda tonight. We originally anticipated much higher cost. We had really good bids, just under $7 million. We were anticipating as much as $15 million.
Oh, that's good news.
So, yeah, occasionally we get a good surprise, and we take our good surprises. So pipelines are fairly competitive. Facilities are very, very few and far between. So received bids on the 20th, and thank you to everyone on staff that was doing the last minute, hurry up and get on the agenda. But this funding, and I'll let Alan talk about some of the negotiation that we did to save up to $4.5 million in interest on this loan because of some of the things that we were able to do. So again, projects included in the current rate plan. This is funded through wastewater rates. And then you can see the time frame on this as well. Spring Creek Interceptor project. This is part of the loan that's being approved tonight. We'll come back separately for the actual project award, but the financing being approved tonight because of timing with the state finance. So we're waiting to secure easements on this project. We've got a couple easements that are delaying the project, and we can't move forward with the project and environmental and funding and bidding until we've got all easements secured so we can finish the environmental and so on. Just a couple things on both of these wastewater projects. So the Chisholm Creek Force Main and then Spring Creek Interceptor. You know, one of the things we rarely talk about in the city is wastewater going into creeks. Chisholm Creek Force Main, we spilled millions of gallons into Chisholm Creek because the line had ruptured and it's just old and needs to be replaced. And the Spring Creek Interceptor is no different. The line is actually along the creek and has fallen in the creek multiple times. You know, our public works crews do a great job repairing, and we've had contractors out to repair lines, and so it's a constant issue. And so we've got a design nearly ready. We just got to hit the finish line on this portion. So again, project is included in the current rate plan. We will bid once we've got the environmental and all the permits done. So timeline for financing is this on the current trajectory. So we'll have funding in place so we can take advantage of the lower rates with this loan. And again, the backgrounds are on our website and also included in the packet. Okay, and then one of the last loan and set of projects, it's a $72 million combined loan, and it's the financial assistance program, and I'll let Alan talk about this as well. But it does include one key project. That's the Tanko 2 project that is on the agenda tonight. We estimated $30 million on this project, and it came in just under at 28.4. So again, good news on that one. And then our northeast water tower, that's relocating the tower at Danforth at the soccer fields and moving it out to Sorghum Mill and between Douglas and Post. The UCO water tower, or in the vicinity of UCO, I shouldn't call it the UCO tower, but Ayers and Bauman. Getting that one ready, taking down the old ground storage tank that's been an eyesore for a long time. We have lots of comments every time we get a new student body at UCO. So they all want to do an art project out there to make it pretty. So. And then the second phase of the 33rd Street water line is included in this loan. And then Coffee Creek wastewater rehabilitation modifications. Believe it or not, it's been over 10 years since we started design of the existing facility, and the few things we did keep need improvement, so that's where we're at. So, just again, background on each of the projects. This is a rendering slash it won't look quite that clean, but the site. And then we met with the neighbors on UCO area and also at the Sorghum Mill Northeast Water Tower. That's a rendering of the area with the College Water Tower. And grand total of projects, it does not match up with what's on the agenda tonight. This is just talking about the ones that are upcoming. But I'll, if there's any questions for me, I'll turn it over to Alan and Chris after this.
Council, any questions?
So a couple of comments and questions. One is, so this overall project, the investment is about $500 million, correct? What's the estimated total?
It's well over $500 million at this point.
So well over $500 million. There's lots of elements that are a part of it. I do know, and I'm very thankful for the different grants and different lower things that we've been able to negotiate, the fact that things are coming in lower, the fact that we have been able to secure some state funding through the ARPA process and the legislature in addition to federal funding. But outside of that, I do know that the ratepayer is the one that has to pay for that. So the lens that I have is, though all these projects are great, the last time they came up, I asked the question of what are we doing to communicate with the citizens? So citizens generally, top two things I want to talk to you about are roads and then water rates. The roads, I think we have a pretty clear thing that they can get educated on and vote for. The water rates, the last time I just expressed an interest in particularly around water breaks and things, that when somebody reports it, that they can be given a level of communication that merits the $500 million of investment that they're being asked to help support. And I know our city manager was asked to get with that and get back to me, hasn't yet. So as I look at the price tag of $150 million, then the question I'm asking is, where are we at with the communication? So last week, I went around my neighborhood, I found a water leak that was trickling down, and so I just went in and reported it. And what I found is that I received 8 emails in a period of like 48 hours, but 4 were the same one spamming me with the same message, and then 4 were spamming me with the same message. And so what I would like to see is, for that ratepayer, is if they're going to go in and say, hey, there's an issue here, or there's something, that they get sent a simple message and a small video that says, hi, thank you for reporting this. Just so you know, in context, this is why breaks happen. This is why we need to fund these certain things. This is what's going on with our soil. And if you want to learn more, click here, go here, and do that. I think $500 million of investment merits that. What we have now is a system that is like a very basic reply email that spams us a bunch of times. So that's more of a comment than a question, because I actually went through and reported a leak. So I'm going to vote no, and I'll continue to vote no until the citizens have a communication tool that works for them when they report a leak, that gives them a video and basic information and responds to them. So that's
Thank you very much, Councilmember Roberts.
comment.
But that's not on the agenda tonight. We're not voting on a communication plan.
Oh, I'm just telling them why I'm voting no.
I'm setting the record that what you're voting on is not on the agenda. So you voting no because there's not a communication plan. There's nowhere in here to vote on that.
Well, the only way that I have, Mr. Mayor, is the power of the purse. So if I'm being asked on behalf of the ratepayers to pay $150 million, which is what I'm authorizing today, to go out and put on the ratepayer back, and they don't have a communication plan, that's a hard no.
Very good. Any other questions?
I mean, I feel like this has been good communication. You continue to explain what the needs are, why we need redundancy, why it's important. One of the things I hear from folks is we know we're a growing city. We have to keep up with that infrastructure. That's why we did a year ago the rate increase that is incremental and smart. And so I understand when you report something needing better communication, but to me, this is a much larger issue, and I think we have communicated with residents about the needs that we have. My son was spending 4 weeks in Cushing doing a course at Central Tech, and he had no water, right, for a week. So we're not going to be in those kinds of situations here in Edmond because we're being smart and forward-thinking about it. So I appreciate the transparency about these projects. Again, reemphasizing that the hard decision to increase the rates and do it incrementally a year ago is important and is funding all of this that we have here. I appreciate the work that our council has done. You can go back and look at the Finance Committee, but they have gotten us really, really good rates on this debt, and so I am happily voting yes on this. I voted yes in Finance Committee, and I'll continue to support forward-thinking infrastructure because that's what this community demands. We're not going to be in the position of Cushing and other towns that, have a crisis because we're willing to make the hard decisions now that aren't necessarily popular in the short run, but are what we need to do in the best interest of our community. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your team, appreciate our bond council, and I hope folks will watch these meetings and see these important projects that we're funding and supporting with the rates that they're paying. Oklahoma City is having huge rate increases. They're doing them less incrementally. People talk about our utilities. Our utilities are very competitive, but we're ahead of it. And we're not supplementing our utilities with other sources of income. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll be voting yes.
Okay.
Did our bond council have any additional comments that they would like to provide for us that'll give us some context?
Mayor, it might be appropriate if I make comments as we go to each resolution.
very
If
good.
that-